What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the YouTube Barber Academy. I'm about to show you guys a full walkthrough with every little step inside of it. This is for barbers who are really trying to learn, and I'm just going to talk my way through the process, how I think about it, how I approach it. And this was originally going to be a membership only video, but this is going to be one of the few tutorials I release to the public that are going to be like this. Now, if this is something that suits you, if you're really in here and you're really trying to learn, this is going to be the best content for that purpose. And I would suggest that you guys join my membership. It's only $4.99 a month, and I'm going to start releasing a lot of videos like this. They don't take me too much time to edit. They're really for the person who's trying to learn, look over my shoulder, and grow. All right. So with that being said, I know this video won't do well, so if you guys do me a favor, smash that thumbs up, hit subscribe, and drop a comment if you can, and let's go. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the YouTube Barber Academy, and I'm going to cut Brian's hair. I'm going to show you guys a couple of different ways you might save some time in your cut. And this one's pretty much for the members only, so you guys can check this out. And also, we're going to be using the new Gamma Instinct, and this one is the one with the vector motor. Speeds up. It'll help speed you up. And I'm also going to mess around with some different trimmers. One of the other things that's going to speed up your process some is actually going to be having a dedicated balding clipper. So I'm going to show you guys all these tools in action and some ways that you can use them. So let's get it. All right, you guys, I'm throwing this Zuka neck guard. What this is going to do is this is going to keep all the hair off of my client because he's got to go back to work. He's a businessman, so he's got to get back to work, and that's going to stop that from happening. That's made of silicone, just sticks to itself, and it's just one of the things that I love doing for my clients to give them a little better of a service. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start out, I'm going to put the skin line in. I'm actually going to just use my trimmers just to put my skin line in. I have the sabers here, and notice how I have it facing down. What this is going to do is this is actually not going to cut as close when I face down. If I turn these around, it's going to cut a little bit closer, and I'll actually do that right here around his ear, because it's the best tool for the job, just to get into those hard to reach spots. And if you've never tried it with this little blade that's on here, these things just are hard to beat. They actually won the best trimmer of 2023 so far. So I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm going to try to match it up. Put like a little bit of a curve in it. Kind of one of the reasons why I like using the trimmers. But always in the downward position first, because that's going to make the line less harsh, and that's going to take you less time to take out the line. Now we're going to match this up. Trying to go above all those bumps. I don't want to put a fade right on the bumps, because that's a bunch of uneven spots in the head that it's just going to be difficult to blend on that. Take your time and make sure you're happy with this line. This is going to be the foundation of your cut, and everything else is going to go a little bit smoother if you get it right. I like that. Switching over to my balding clipper, dedicated for just this purpose, to take care of this big area. These are the things that take a while, like removing a lot of hair, and you can see how fast I can move with this, with a dedicated tool for this purpose. I actually use this for other purposes too, like if he was getting clippers on the top, I could connect a guard to this, I could cut with it like that. It doesn't have a lever, it doesn't fade or blend. Its only purpose is to remove bulk and make your life a little bit easier. Alright, so next step. I actually have a $430 electric shaver, but what I do all the time is I actually use two. So I got my Rebel and I got this, and I'm going to do both at the same time. This is just a big wide area on the head. Very easy to actually do this and just get rid of all that right away. So when it comes to this area here, I'll just switch back to one. I'm just using the bottom of my blade to flick it out towards the top of that line. I mean, the faster you can remove all this bulk, the better, and I actually bought this machine with the intention of reviewing it and possibly returning it, but it is so fast, so gentle, and cuts so close that I decided to keep it. And it's really sped up my process as far as this portion of phase one. Phase one in my mind is just removing all the bulk and preparing for the blend. So next thing we would do is phase two, which is actually some clipper over comb. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to jump right to phase three. We're going to cut the top. So we're going to just cut the top down a little bit. He doesn't need a crazy amount off. I'm going to wet this. I'm actually using a Zuka comb. They're the same company that makes the neck cards, and these are just like my favorite combs to use too. Real skinny, and it gives me a lot of control, especially over fine hair. So I'm going to begin in the center, and I'm going to cut myself a small guideline. If you find yourself cutting yourself all the time, stop opening the scissors up so much. You don't need to be opening and chomping. I literally just barely opened the scissors enough to get some hair in. And that's all you really got to do there. So there's my guide in the center, and I'm going to begin cutting out towards the edge. Staying very close to my guide every time I do that. I tend to like flare my pinky out so that you get like I'm drinking tea or something.
You're on the side of the face.
I see myself on camera, I'm like, yo, they can't even see this section because I'm flaring my pinky out. So just keep the scissors kind of closed. You don't want to have to open them up all the way. And I know some of you guys are wondering about texturizing techniques and stuff like that. Really not too necessary at this point. We can always add texture after. You're looking to get things done fast and efficient. So there's times where, you know, putting texture in is not going to make a whole lot of sense. So I got the whole top cut. Now I'm going to cross check. I cut it horizontally. I'm going to cross check vertically. So now I'm going to lift up a couple sections here, and any little hairs that I see in there that are not in line, this is going to stop all those little lines from showing up when your client's hair dries. All right, now would be a great time to add a little bit of texture in. And the way I could do that, because this hair is going to kind of come over this way a little bit, I can actually use some point cutting to help with that. So if I cut into the section holding my shears this way, and again, I'm not moving the bottom part of my shear, what that's going to do is that's going to help the hair to lay down facing this way. So that's kind of why I waited. So if you chip into this section a little bit, you get these hairs to kind of lay the way you want them to. This hair pushes hair, pushes hair. All right, let's move on to phase four, the blend. So the way we're going to start this blend, we're going to work fast and efficient, and we're going to set in good guidelines. My instinct clipper, I'm going to open this up all the way, and I'm going to set in my first guideline. I like to hold it on the edge, kind of just more like this, and I'm going to rock it back and forth in that C motion. I'm trying to soften the upper portion of my guide. I want to soften it. This clipper is just so small and compact. I just feel like I could just toss it around real easy like. Maintaining the width of that guide, I'm going to do that all the way around the head. It's very important that you get it flat at a certain point. So you need to get it flat. You can't just leave it up like this or out like this. Otherwise, you're not going to hit the lengths that you want to hit. Keeping that light kind of flicking action towards the top, that's going to soften up those upper guidelines, making life easy on you. Make sure that you hold it flat at the bottom. It's got to be flat. All right, next step in our process, we're going to jump to the number one. I'm going to open it 2 clicks. So close it all the way in 1, 2. Once I got that open, we're going to go ahead and we're going to flick into the guideline and repeat the same process. I'm keeping this on a slight angle, and I'm really only trying to use part of my guard. Even now, these are the things that really speed you up, that really make this come together quickly and make it come together nice. Just using the corner of that guard. Same thing on this side. I'm going to close it all the way Open it a little bit. All right. We could go into this top section with the 1 1/2. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to close this all the way and I'm going to open it one click. We're going to knock out the bottom portion of the line. I'm only using the corner of my blade, just tapping at it. I don't really want to hold it flat at this point. Flat would be like this, and if I make a flat mistake, it's going to make a mistake that's like an inch long. Really only trying to put a few teeth, 2 or 3 teeth in there at a time. I'm going to close this all the way now. I sort of opened it one click just as a test because I had these zero gap to help with this process, but at the same time, like, you don't want to make mistakes. It's easier to cut more off. Can't put the hair back on. All right, we're going to open this up 2 clicks. Do the same process. Open it up 1 more click, same process. Taking your time with this part of it and being thorough, really going to save you time at the end of the day. This is just one of the more meticulous parts of the cut, and we're going to keep stepping through until we have it all the way open. If you see issues in your haircut, like the one I'm working through right here, just move through in your own time. Like I seen that a while ago. I wasn't worried about it until I got up here. Now I can start working on that little area there. We'll throw a little bit more light on it just to make sure you guys can see it better. Okay, we're gonna go to the half guard now. Half guard, halfway open is usually where I like to start. Kind of glad they include other cases because I put this black case on here. I just think it looks really cool like this. And the Instinct trimmer, we also have the black one on there. It looks pretty dope. Begin kind of opening and closing this as needed, but I'm doing the same thing. I started with it all the way up closed, went 2 clicks open, and now I can go all the way back to completely closed, and I'm liking the way this is starting to come together. So at the very bottom, we still have a faint line to clean up. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do that with my trimmer. I got my saber here. I'm only using like 1 or 2 teeth. A lot of people got the idea of flicking. Like, flicking doesn't really mean I'm going to go up and out like that. Like, no, I'm just chipping. I think chipping would be a much better term for it, where I'm sort of just chipping into the line. And I'm breaking up those dark spots. That looks much better. Go back with it fully closed, do the same thing a little bit. Meet those 2 lengths nicely. Open it a little bit. I know some of you guys are struggling with this portion right here, erasing the skin line. Very difficult concept for a lot of you guys. I can tell you it's just going to take some reps, but if you really start to understand your equipment and how to use it to make it work best for you, like using those corners and stuff like that, like just because we have this full blade doesn't mean that we're going to use it. I'm going to go to the 1 1/2. I'm going to start with the 2 clicks open, and I'm going to do the same thing because now I kind of like how this is starting to connect to the top. And I really don't want to make a mistake here. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit more pressure on the right side of my blade than the left. Let me close it down a little bit. You also got to know how to troubleshoot a little bit too. So like I got this little dark spot right here that I'm kind of fighting with, and the only thing I can really do is go down back to the number 1 again, and I'm going to open that up all the way. But you really got to be careful here. You can make a mistake. You can't get impatient, so it's time to actually slow down a little bit here and make sure that you don't make that mistake. Making a mistake is going to cause you to have to work harder, and it's going to cause you to have to take longer to complete the haircut. A great little polishing step. All right, that looks pretty good for now. We're going to use some shear over comb now to tie the rest of that in. I'm going to flip over and I'm going to knock out the other side real quick. Paying attention to the growth patterns too. You see how his hair is just jutting down this way? It's not going to be cut the same. So to go against the grain, I gotta go against the grain. I gotta meet it. That means I kind of gotta hold my clipper this way. But what that also means is I can kind of hang this side of it off, and I can begin some of those upper steps simply by just holding my clipper off the side of his head a little bit. And I've done a lot of good just using the one open. I'm gonna close this halfway now. Run that same step. Really more or less just focusing on these dark spots. I'm gonna close it all the way now. Yeah. I kind of like to take some swipes at the back, but I'll move it so I'll get the back done while it's standing in front of me. But we're just going to knock out that bottom line. Once again, fully closed now, using only 2 teeth. This side should buff out a little easier than the other side. There's always going to be an easier side, and there's always going to be a side that's a little harder. Keep opening. Keep using only the half of the blade. I'm only using these 2 teeth. Close it down and open it up as you need to. That looks pretty good down there. I'll flip over to the half guard. Really got to be careful here. This guard can get you in trouble, especially when there's less hair. Like there's obviously less hair on this side of his head. That's why I was able to remove the skin line easier. But it's just so important that I preserve some of this dark hair up here so it shows the contrast in my blend. Don't get impatient. Let it come together. Let the clipper do the work for you. We're going to use some shear over comb to fine tune that, so I'm going to pull off of that for now. I'm going to switch over to the Instinct trimmer. It's super powerful and it'll help me get a really sharp line right here. I just like to kind of see how that looks like semi-completed. We're going to do the rest of the edge here in a second, but that looks pretty good. I'm going to knock out the back and then we'll do our shear over comb. Alright, I'm going to just start at the bottom because we've taken some swipes here. Also see that I missed a little bit with my electric shaver. better. Should be able to get this side looking, should be able to get the back looking pretty good here. I'm just going to use the same steps. Just using my corner, keeping that pressure down on the head. Flip it open. Keep clicking it open until it's all the way open. One step at a time. All right, we're gonna flip over to the half guard. Same thing, I like to always start with it halfway open just to see what that does. If it's not doing what you want, you can close it or open it. That's kind of what's nice about the testing method with the two teeth. I put that down as a tester just to see what effect is it having, and then I could kind of know that, okay, in this case I gotta close this a little bit. Even though that's looking pretty good, I'm just to be thorough, I'm gonna put the one on. I'm gonna open it up all the way, because as I did both sides, I was kind of taking little swipes towards the back here. So I just want this to all be more uniform, so I'll close this up all the way. Little by little, now it's all the way. That's great. Alright, I'm just going to go around and look for like any little areas. I have my instinct set to be like my closest trimmer, and even though my saber's close, my instinct is a little bit closer, so it'll really like allow me to kind of go in there and just fix little areas that the shaver doesn't match up with. And that's the whole purpose of kind of knowing your tools, you know. Know what tool you're going to use for each situation. You know, me knowing that this is my sharpest trimmer, I know that this is going to give me the best chance to meet that electric shaver length, so that's what I'm going to use. Okay, now we want to grab a skinny comb, and one of the reasons why it's this comb is because it gets so close to the head. Now, if you got a comb that's too thick, you're not going to be able to do the shear over comb as easy on these short lengths. So a taper comb would be fine, but I really do like these little like flexible combs to just make this easier. So, and just so you guys know, this company is owned by Philip Wolf. He's like one of the best platform artists that ever lived, and you know, he just comes up with some great ideas here between the neck guard and these combs, between this comb and the clipper comb, which I didn't use in this cut, but man, it's a great comb for flat tops, it's a great comb for fading. Pushing against the scalp pretty hard here, and I'm just trying to soften any of those little areas. Knowing when to pull off and switch over to using some shears is a really good thing to know. I mean, I could have tried to fight with all this with a clipper, but there's just too high of a potential for mistakes. Whereas with my shear over comb method, I could come in here and I could be a lot more surgical and kind of just go to the problem areas rather than the other way around. Sometimes if you cut hair off with a clipper, it's just gone and there ain't no getting it back. Switching over to some texturizing shears here. See if I can kind of even out the density, because some of these areas on a head are going to have more hair per square inch than others. So that's kind of where this tool comes into play. I can kind of go in here and I can reduce density without removing a whole lot of hair. It's kind of like a freehand technique. Okay, you got a few little spots right here. And I'm going to try the texturizing shears right here. I just don't want to bring a clipper up into here because it'll just make that hair disappear. This is just one of those situations where it's really smart to pull off of your clipper, not use it, and go in here with something that makes a little more sense that I could be a little more careful with. So I could take a couple passes here. If you guys want a full video on shear over comb and texturizing shears, I have a full video on that. I think it's one of the best videos ever made on that. And it'll really give you guys some direction as far as like using shear over comb and how to do it, and you know, all the fundamentals. That looks way better. I don't know how it comes across on camera, but like in person, that looks way better than it did. And if I want to, I can always bounce back to the clipper after. It's about being careful, you know. I got the number 1 on here, and I'm just kind of stepping around a little bit, tidying it up. Don't death stare at the camera, right?
Tell them to clear it.
Keep your eyes down.
Tell them to DM me, I'll clarify.
Not looking to put some crazy deep edge on him, and just looking to tidy it up and make it look clean. Oh, that looks pretty good. We're gonna hit this. We'll hit it up with the razor. I got my favorite razor here. This is the Essence razor from Titleist. You notice it's pretty big, it's pretty heavy, and it just makes the cut so smooth. If you notice, I'm anchoring with my pinky, or I'm anchoring with my middle finger. If you notice, I'm anchoring with my middle finger. I kind of got it on his forehead, and then I'm also anchored to his head with my other hand, and that just allows me to be real steady, very precise where I set the razor in, and I'm just making little arcing movements. Same thing here. Some people like to do like a backstroke to come here. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I think it's a lot safer for you to take your client this way and do a pull stroke into it. So I can kind of pull into the line, and I got a lot more control that way.
I can look at your face all day. I just don't want to miss a moment.
Kind of trying to use this as my mirror so I can sort of see where I gotta go to make it even. And then after I use the razor, a lot of times I'll go back in and I'll sort of catch any hair that's overhanging with my trimmer again. That's good. I'm going to comb all this hair forward and show you guys a little trick. This side of his edge, I can get that really sharp with the trimmer, just the way the hair is. It's pretty easy. But the other side of his edge, I'm struggling with. So, you know, a technique I use a lot is I actually use shears to kind of really box out that corner a little bit. Just in case you guys are wondering, my shears are from Shear Police. You guys could get a 10% discount on everything. They're just a great company. They helped me to do the Barber Tuition Initiative video where we gave away barber tuition to somebody. I was recently told if I could raise that program to 5,000, the Gamma would give me another 5,000 so that I could give away another tuition. I'll be honest, the idea hasn't, the idea didn't take off in the way that I hoped it would. So I kind of almost felt like I gave up on it a little bit, but I need to get back focused on that because that offer expires in 2 months. So if you guys want to help me out and donate to the Barber Tuition Initiative, the link is in the video below. All right, once the hair is dry, I like to kind of go through this one more time just to make sure that I got all the hair laying the way I want, and I could get in here and I could be real surgical about what I'm doing. Also, if I see any hair sticking out, I'm going to use the very inside of my shear to get this hair to lay down. So any like little hairs that are just kind of sticking out and bothering you, you can kind of go through and do it like that. Once the hair is dry, you should be able to see pretty much any little mistakes or anything that you might want to fix. This is kind of when it all comes out, and it's a great time to readjust things. We just noticed that, you know, he's telling me like when his bangs feel long, so I know he wears it up and back. So at this point, I'm kind of combing it up and back, and I'm looking for any long hair. And now I'm going to throw a little bit of gel in it just to make sure it lays the way that he wants before we leave. Were you onto that song?
Yeah.
Were you onto it?
I was about whistle with you. I was about to whistle with you.
All right, no enhancements, nothing like that with this cut. It's El Natural and it looks good. Show me your edge. Go down a little bit. This is like a little tiny spot right here. I don't know if it can be seen in the camera, but it's just, you know, it'll be easy for me to fix this now. Better. Ah, perfect.
Nice.
If I chase you out the door with the clipper in hand. All right, you guys, this is the cut. I hope you like it. I hope you learned something. Stay tuned and check out some of these other videos. And if you guys are curious about any of the tools you've seen in this video, you guys can watch the best shaver of 2023, best trimmer of 2023, and best clipper of 2023. And I'll link those videos right here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is the YouTube Barber Academy. I'm Mr. D Barber, and I'm out of here. Peace.